Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. For this video, I have some domestic and international news. And the first one has to do with a mask ban in the state of New York. Now, remember, New York did not have a mask ban when the riots about Black Lives Matter and George Floyd riots occurred and so on. No, they did not have then, but they had it because of another reason, when you have a supporters of something else that would put other group in peril. We have one person arrested, first person in New York arrested for wearing a mask in public. And I will show you the way this piece of news is reported by one outlet, media outlet, and then a few others. Why? Because they have to hide certain aspects, characteristics of the person arrested in order to support certain political policies. They will ignore certain facts that I think are irrelevant to the person wearing that mask. Do I agree with wearing a mask in public? We're going to discuss that. Another topic that we have here is Macron, the still current president of French Republic, invited Durov in France to move his headquarters of Telegram into France. Macron, that guy who now arrested Durov, the founder and the CEO of Telegram. Very interesting. Expected? Yeah, these guys tried to take over or allow their services to penetrate the Telegram, messaging app, whatever it is, social media, however we want to call it. But why? Because they want to penetrate all of them. It's a control thing, and that's now free speech. It's very limited free speech. Next article, I think this is, I would say, the most they are important, but very dangerous. According to the Russians, the US research into bioweapons targeting Slavs underway since at least the 1990s, expert says. Now, are they lying? I know that there were bioweapons invented for a long time in order to target a certain kind of population genetically, genetic group, which is, I remember the first time I heard that I think it was in the 80s or something like this, when Israel was developing something for the certain kind of population in the area. So when they throw that bio, they don't, but the other ones, okay, well, that's very dangerous. But the Americans reportedly say continue their research. Now, Russia says no prospect in peace talks with Kiev regime, even if Modi said, well, let's have a peace. Yeah, let's have a peace, but under whose terms? Zelensky's, Russia's, the international communities. Now, where is a friend where you need one? Well, Lockheed Martin is your friend. He's ready to help, like always, at a certain kind of cost. They offer to repair F-16s supplied to Ukraine. Now, do you remember what Russia said about that? They said whomever is going to be involved in any country involved in repairing the F-16s, we're going to destroy them. We're going to strike those facilities. And then we have Elon Musk, who does something or said something that I said before. And this was first published in August 26, 2024 and updated on August 27th. Said something that I said many times before. US or we should get rid of electronic voting machines. That's what Elon Musk said. And I said it many, many times from direct experience with random drawings. They were not random at all. So let's start with the first one. So this is from National Review, but I got this from New York Times. The New York Times, you remember the New York Times? All right, the New York Times. And is about a person, just a person, who was arrested, the first arrest in New York County under the new mask ban. I'm going to show you why. Can you guess why the New York ban now it is? New York ban? This is the fact that I'm trying to access New York Times on my laptop, and they ask for money, these guys. But on my iPad, little shitty iPad that I have, you can read the entire article right there with no request for money. And the reason why I picked the New York Times, that's where I found it. On my telephone, I could read the whole article, which I did. I read it on this one. Again, you can read it. If I go here and I try to access New York Times, they will try to get money. Why is this important? Because they leave out New York Times. These guys here, you can read a New York Times article as well on your own. And the title, just so you know, is this. Man is first man. Why not person? It's a man. The other one said person. Man is first to be charged in New York with wearing a mask in public. New York Times, go and check it out. And you're going to find any other information about that guy. You're going to find his name, the age. You're not going to find something else. Why? It's politically incorrect to point that out. Why? It's going to rock some boats. For people who pay attention. For the baboons, nothing. So what's going on here? A suburban New York County, Long Island, issued its first arrest over the weekend in relation to a new mask ban that prohibits persons from wearing facial covering in public spaces while providing exceptions for people who wear masks for medical or religious reasons, local authorities said. And you find the guy was identified right here by Omar Ramirez Castillo, 18, as the first person arrested under the new law, wearing a mask and all black clothing. So will they ban how do you call it, black clothing now? I mean, if they ban that mask, why don't they ban clothing now? Bad. The man was arrested evening in response to suspicious behavior. Officers spotted a bulge in his waistband. The bulge happened to be a 14-inch knife. Now remember, this guy is 18. Remember 3 years from the back. So he was what, 15? Something like that. That's minor. Next one. These are ABC, but it's klfy.com. Here, police in suburban New York County have made their first arrest under a new law banning face masks by Philip Marcello, Associated Press. And this is the guy. He's 18 right there. And because he's like that, they said suspicious activity. So again, you find out that a man, right, was just suspicious. They found Wesley Omar Ramirez Castillo wearing black clothing. Why is it important? Oh, because he's suspicious. And a black ski mask that covered his face, except for his eyes. Now you find out the 18-year-old resident. All right, let's go to the next one. Why did New York first ban masks? And I'm going to read the beginning. Albany, New York, the capital of the state of New York, after violent counter-protests. Well, weren't those during the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, some violent, some of them? No. And were the masks? Some of them. And anti-Jewish hate crimes in the New York government, Kathy Hochul, floated the idea of banning masks under certain circumstances. And now you know why. Right? You know why. And you go here and you go down and it says a person is guilty of loitering, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to find in this one either the aspect I'm looking for, which is this right here. Fox News. Illegal immigrant arrested by New York police while enforcing new mask ban. Illegal immigrant. Okay, well, why is it important? And they show us here the Palestinian, right? Pam, 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 pam. So that's why. All right, New York police made their first arrest for alleged violation of a new ban on mask wearing on Nassau County Sunday. Police saw Wesley Nomar Ramirez Castillo, 18, was arrested for wearing a mask and acting suspiciously. He is an illegal immigrant. What is his sexual orientation? Does it matter? No, but this should matter, doesn't it? Because why? You're going to find out. A photo shows he was dressed in all black, and police say he was attempting to conceal the bulge in his pants, which turned out to be 14-inch knife. And I have a picture of that. All right, the new mandate came in reaction to large groups of protesters concealing their identities during violent demonstrations. These are, they're hiding this, remember? The one with why the reason. Remember? They are hiding it. All right, let's see what this guy came here. This guy came here 3 years ago. This guy, 3 years ago. That's my point here. I can find, this is the long knife right there. What? Okay, I know what kind of knife that is, obviously. So this is a guy who came here 3 years ago, and he's an illegal immigrant. I think 3 or 2 years ago. I think 3 years ago. That means 15. How did you come here, buddy? CPS? Anybody? Child Protective Services? They don't care. So my point here was like, my point was these guys are considering certain piece of information so they don't say, oh, look at that guy. Why is he here? Why is he here? Not even, I didn't find in those articles, and maybe you can find it, but I didn't. Not even the word undocumented, which they like. All right, let's see how Macron invited Durov to move Telegram headquarters to Paris. Sputnik. Macron invited Durov in 2018 to move Telegram headquarters to Paris. Remember, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. This is a mini dictator. But he's not doing anything illegal, I gotta tell you that. French President Emmanuel Macron invited Telegram founder Pavel Durov to move the app's headquarters from Dubai to Paris in 2018, but he declined. US media reported on Wednesday, citing people familiar with the matter. Macron made a proposal during a lunch which had not been previously reported. The French leader also discussed granting French citizenship to Durov at the time, the newspaper reported. Russian-born Durov, who holds citizenship in several countries, including France, was detained at the Paris airport. Okay, my friends? So he won it. Macron has said that Durov's arrest was not a political decision and promised that the decision on the businessman's case will be made by judges. No, it's not political. It's not political. It's based on security, safety. For your security, for your safety, for national security. It's not political. It's just, my God. With time, if you live long enough and you pay attention, you don't have to dig. Just pay attention. You're going to find out that the people, some countries, some victims who claim victimhood, and they claim, hey, those guys are doing that, are engaged in that, it's illegal, that's discrimination, that's, this, and that's a crime. They most likely did that 10 times worse than the guys they point the finger at. You're going to find out with life. And I don't have to. If you watch me for long enough, you're going to figure out I'm losing air. They're going to figure out a few countries that point the fingers at everybody about democracies. Their democracies, this, that. And if you look at their democracies, you're going to find out that's a joke. All right, let's go to the bioweapons targeting Slavs, according to the Russians. Sputnik. US research into bioweapons targeting Slavs underway since at least the 1990s, expert says. Damning new details regarding the US military's efforts to create ethnically selective virus strains in Ukraine have been presented by Russian radiological, chemical and biological defense troops. The new information is further evidence of an international criminal conspiracy going back decades, experts tell Sputnik. The United States, I'm quoting, is reportedly continuing its efforts to develop bioagents, I think it's illegal, capable of selectively targeting different ethnic groups. So this is RCBD, Troops Chief Igor Kirillov said in a briefing Tuesday on the US government, military, and big pharma's ongoing military biological activities in Ukraine. And I'm quoting, according to available information, obviously, what information you have to provide, right? The United States has begun to actively involve Moldova and Romania in its biomaterial logistics schemes for the transfer of the biomaterials of Ukrainians out of the country, Kirillov said, detailing how Russia's special military operation has forced the US and its allies to adjust their tactics and try to cover their tactics. And not only, they're going to tell you that in the past, they picked up some, I will show you. Right here. The task was set back in 1990s by then the CIA Director George Tenet to create a pathogens that would be ethnically specific. Tenet, one could say, is the main villain of the 21st century, outgoing even this guy right here on this question. Igor Nikulin, a Russian military expert and former member of the UN Commission on Chemical and Biological Weapons, told Sputnik. The Americans first showed interest in the Slavic ethnic group and genome in the early 1990s, perhaps even earlier. In the early 1990s, these are their statements. I don't have to agree with it. I don't know if they're true or not. You know, you put just a little word here and there, like first showed interest. What do you mean? I worked, he said, in the Human Genome Project as a junior research fellow at the Institute of Molecular Biology of the Academy of Science. The Americans would ask not only for our decoding work, but all the source materials as well, supposedly for verification. Then during what was still the Soviet Union, hundreds if not thousands of samples went overseas to these very same American and European laboratories. So, for all these years, various companies, foundations, and non-governmental organizations have been collecting the genetic materials of Russians, these guys say. So, a typical pneumonia, let's say, targets the Slavs, the same as typhus, which the Japanese discovered in 1930s, affect mainly white Europeans. Delta Omicron strains of COVID affect Asians, the Chinese, Koreans, and Vietnamese. Ebola affects Africans and is the product of high biotechnology never before recorded. MERS, Middle East acute respiratory syndromes, targets Arabs. They don't name the name. So there are already specific approaches for every national and radical group. Now remember, when they tell you that race, race is a social construct, okay, in criminal, how do you call it, investigations, let's put it this way, and let's say you discover a skeleton, you can identify the race of the skeleton with a high precision. Asian, bababab or bababab. Okay, you can find it. So the same, their medications, vaccines, they are specifically made medications for certain kind of groups and not for others. Why? Because they touch certain kind of what was that? What was that called? The sickle, whatever that was, the illness that affects a certain kind of group. But hey, we just said that we're all the same. No, we're not all the same. We have specific characteristics. Anyway, so if this is true or not, let time decide that. Now, even if you don't like this subject, even if, let's say, you are part of certain kind of group or anything like this, this is concerning. This is concerning. If you would hear the Russians are doing this, and I don't think that they are just clean as a whistle. This should be concerning. I think many countries still have this kind of biological weapons, and they could use it in extreme scenarios, but nevertheless, or situations, not even scenarios, situations. So let's see here how the Russians don't want to talk with the Ukrainians anymore. They want it, but not under the current situation. No prospect of peace talks with Kiev regime, Kremlin said. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not propose new peace initiatives. following his trip to Ukraine, Dmitry Peskov has said. Why? Because the Western media, I read an article, said that supposedly during the conversation, phone conversation between Putin and Modi, supposedly, reportedly, allegedly, Modi told Putin to stop the war as soon as possible. Well, I think that could be stopped today if Putin gets crazy. If you know what I mean? Not saying stop the war. Send one over there. Or maybe two, to be certain that we create a pattern. I hope that doesn't happen, but that could be stopped in a day. And the Americans will do nothing. We'll just talk. Moscow does not see a way to hold peace talks with Ukraine, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told the journalist on Wednesday, commenting on the recent trip to Kiev by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Indian leader spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin about his visit to Ukraine. In a phone call on Tuesday, Peskov was asked if New Delhi has offered any peace initiative during the conversation, and said that was not the case, and I'm quoting, "The Indian side has consistently held the position of a supporter of peace." Correct. This corresponds with our worldview, but at this moment it is blatantly obvious that there are no conditions for such talks. Well. Next one. The saviors, the friends. Sputnik. Lockheed Martin offers to repair F-16 jets supplied to Ukraine in Poland. The Russians said, if they do that, we're gonna hit them wherever they are, in whatever country they are. The F-16 fighter jets supplied to Ukraine by Western countries may undergo technical maintenance at Lockheed Martin Service Center in Poland if Washington approves of it, the U.S. defense company chief operating officer has said. Our intention for the facility is that it'll be a regional facility, and so Ukraine is certainly in the region. So again, all of this comes under the guidance and auspices of the US government. Is Lockheed Martin a government institution? Yeah, no. It's private. I think they should do business wherever they want. No? No. And so it's certainly capable of doing that, but will follow the government's lead on how they want us to work Ukraine support. Frank St. John told the newspaper, The company will reportedly look to apply a similar model of building of a maintenance hub in Ukraine as it did in Poland. All right, you're going to do this? Great. Remember, Russia said they will blow them up if they do that. We'll find out. And the last one, not really the last one, because I saw a very interesting piece of information just came on Sputnik, and I'm probably going to discuss that. Snopes fact check, we agree with them, right? No, not at all. But anyway, Elon Musk said we should get rid of electronic voting machines, ? Right? And we have here correct attribution, context. While the claim went viral through a satirical post and Musk did not use the exact language in the article, he did indeed call to, quote-unquote, eliminate, end quote, electronic voting machines in an authentic June 2024 post on X. A rumor that technology mogul Elon Musk called for banning all electronic voting machines circulated widely online in August 2024. For example, SpaceX Mania posted an article in 2024, August, with a headline, "Breaking, Elon Musk says," and I'm quoting, "we should get rid of all electronic voting machines." The article started, I personally agree with that. I think voting in person with an ID and a signature should be required. Not only the signature. You can verify whenever. Nowadays, if you want, you go online, you go to your county, you go, let's say, to the property. You go to I'm now teaching you how to do illegal stuff. This is all illegal. You go to the county and look at the property tax, and you put an address, and you're going to find out who the owners are of that household. And then you know the district where they're going to vote, and you go over there and you knock at the door, and then, let's say, a bad dude can, false identity, say, "My name is Tom Jones, and I'm here to vote." And don't provide ID, they will believe you and you vote. And then you go take another one from a different county or different area, And again, you go over there, you get another name, and you go over there, my name is Elvis Presley now, and I came to vote. All right, this is my address, no ID required, I'm going to vote. And then when you come over there, say, oh, you already voted. What, me? No, check what? And you do this 50 times, there you go, or 20 times, and you have, I don't know, let's say 300 people doing this, you can do a lot of damage. So that's only one way. Now, the way I know that happened to me personally is in the competition, Kyokushin competitions. When I used to participate, used to have certain kind of people to fight with. And you wonder how I have these guys to fight with, and the other guy that I'm going to meet in the final has easy fights, and I have hard fights. No. And they have some people who don't show up, or people from their dojos. How in the hell I get over there? I remind you, Kyokushin is not a point system or something where you just jerk off on the tatami. No, you are full contact. That means you fight without protections. You don't have gloves and shit and masks and pads like taekwondo. No. You have like a real thing. So if you can't punch the face because I knock you out with one blow, so that the competition will be 0. Therefore, that's the downfall to that. Well, you can put masks if you want, and anyway, break bones. So you end up with this, and you wonder how. And I found out when I became a referee, became a referee. I was involved in their drawings, and it was a competition, international competition, and I saw how they did it. And what they did, they got it ready already before, because everything goes to one thing. It's one button that they will push, and then you got a number. Who's going to verify that? And it's very, I'm not going to go into this deeper. I did in another article, other videos. So let's see what's going on here. So it seems like, according to these guys, I just saw this coming. Sputnik, game over. Ukraine announces partial halt to payments on its Gargantuan debt. So what is going to be? Kiev is notoriously dependent on foreign military and economic support and debt-based spending, fueling the NATO proxy war with Russia, which is national debt nearly doubling over Zelensky's or over to $152 billion. A World Bank official warned this spring that Ukraine could declare bankruptcy in 2025 unless its sponsor bail it out. Do you mean us? Ukraine's cabinet of ministers issued a resolution on Tuesday ordering a partial halt to the servicing of its obligations on Eurobonds, sovereign GDP warrants, and other loan instruments, driving the country one step closer to formal financial ruin. Starting September 3, Ukraine will stop servicing its roughly $700 million debt to Cargill Financial Services International, a Minneapolis-registered agribusiness giant. From November 9 on, Kiev will halt services state national power company Ukrenergo's green and sustainable linked Eurobonds issued in 2021 and worth about $830 million. Payments on GDP warrants, a financial instrument linked to economic growth, will be stopped May 31st, 2025. Ukraine owes some $2.6 billion on this instrument, according to US banking giant international banking system. So the government decree instructs the state treasury to temporarily suspend operations with GDP warrant related funds, with Kiev last making a 2.89 billion hryvnia, $70.52 million US dollars payment corresponding to the deferred payment of earnings and interest accrued from 2021. On July 31st, on August 1st, the treasury paid 5.33, I'm going to go with $130 million fee for separate debt restructuring. So anyway, they are getting to the point where even the American government, who actually pays for their government and institutions' salaries and pensions and all that from printing money, and we pay. So they print money that creates inflation. They borrow money, send it over there, and that's all falling on us, the US citizens. We, our children, our grandchildren, will pay for the inflation. We'll pay for the loans gotten with interest. For what? For Zelensky's time. Not Zelensky's time. For the same guys who are going to loan us the money. It's. All right, my friends, here it is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Ukraine even if it's, we don't even know, but even if defaults, the entire thing, these guys are going to just apply their support hose into Ukraine from us. They will make us pay, be responsible. You know why? Because they will tell us that the Ukrainians are fighting for us, so we should. They're sacrificing their country, their lives, their history, their culture, everything to defend our freedom so we can play games and, okay, or whatever you do. This is how the story is going to go. So you owe them. They are shaming us. That's the method those guys were using for thousands of years. Shaming us. How is that? Guilt tripping. That's how, guilt tripping. Making you feel guilty about something that they manufacture as a big lie. Enough hints? Okay. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.